Hi, I'm Ben, and today we're going to be shaving my head. Alright, so here goes. Just kidding. No, that's not how I do it. But first, let's get into why I even bother cutting my own hair. Why don't I just go to a normal hairdresser, like everyone else? Well, number one is time. Honestly, I've never liked going to the hairdresser. Aside from having your scalp massaged, that's really nice. But other than that, it's kind of just an errand that soaks up a bunch of time. You see, it only takes about 30 minutes from taking out the kit to putting it away. The second is money. So if we were to go every 1.5 months, that would come to about 8 times per year. That's about $120 to about $160 per year. So I don't spend that. Off of Amazon, you can get about a $30 kit for doing your own hair, and that'll last you probably like a few years at least. The third factor is consistency. I do my own hair consistently every single time the same way. Right now, this is kind of the hairstyle that I'm going for. Okay, not this. This is getting a little bit of it out of hand. If you look at me straight on, yeah, like I need to do my haircut. This is why I'm doing this, because about every 1.5 months, it gets a little bit crazy, and that's when I would normally have to go to a hairstylist. But that's what I do. I just go to my hairstyling salon, which is the washroom, and then I do my hair. Do you know that feeling that you get when your hairdresser isn't in, and then you get someone else to do it, and it's just off, and you don't like your haircut coming out? Yeah, I don't know that feeling anymore, because I am the hairdresser. The last thing right before I actually get to doing my haircut, you have to consider, does it actually matter if you mess up your own hair? I mean, I started when I was really young, so debatably it didn't matter at all. But even still now, it doesn't really matter all that much. As long as you know the basics, you can't mess up that much. The biggest mess up is sometimes I accidentally go, boop, a little bit too high here. And it doesn't matter. It then grows back in like 2 days. No one's ever noticed that, and if they did, they didn't care enough to tell me, and I didn't care enough that they didn't care enough that they even cared. I don't care if anyone cares. It kind of just suits my personality anyway. Even this hair that's now a little bit more like Jimmy Neutron, it kind of matches my wacky personality anyway, so maybe keep that in mind too. You have to own it. If you mess up at all, just own it. It's fine. Whatever. Most people won't even notice. The worst case is if I make a mistake, it's kind of funny conversation for a few days until it grows back in. So this is the kit that I have. It comes with a bunch of stuff and things, and I don't use anything else in here other than this and this. So this is the 3mm. Is that really 3mm? 9mm. Oh, okay. It actually tells you. Okay, the number 3 is 3/8 or 9mm. So that's the one I use. I normally would use a 2 as well, but I lost that one, so I used the 3. Now, this isn't horribly complicated at all, but let me walk you through what I do. The first thing that you need to know is that this becomes a very hairy situation if it gets out of control. So try to contain it to the sink. My recommendation is to have a dry sink and then make sure the plug is in, just so that no hair can get down the drain before you remove the majority of it. We'll get to this at the end, but I just wanted to mention that before you started, because that's kind of important. No matter if it's a rental or your own home, you will not want to plug up your own sink. Otherwise, you're going to have this sort of sinking feeling. I wouldn't recommend cutting your hair in the shower or the tub either, because the sink is just easier to clean. It's at a nice cleaning level and you don't have to stoop over to clean it out. Okay, now we start. I start on the sides of my head, where I know that my number 3 blade thingy, whatever it's called, will be almost a perfect length. As I said before, I already know that I'd normally use a number 2, but I don't have that. So later on, I actually do it freehand, which is pretty sketchy, but we'll get to that later. While I'm doing the sides, I try to blend between the sides and the top. I lengthen the blade cover for this part just slightly, but because of the low power of the motor, the shaver is pretty forgiving and it's hard to mess up horribly. Because of the motor being so weak, I have to clean this part of the blades out pretty regularly, every few strokes. It's not the worst thing, and it works for me. Next up is the back of my head, which is definitely the hardest part of doing your own hair. And it doesn't help that I have 2 cowlicks at the back of my head, which makes my hair fight itself and pop up like a rooster tail when it gets too long. In this haircut session, I kind of just peck away all around my head so I get the most quantity of hair off of my head before getting too perfectionist. Once I start doing the top of my hair, I know that I'm about halfway done. I just try to thin it out a little bit here and there, just a bit at a time, just like with the rest of my hair. Back to the back of my head though, the two cowlicks make it so that I have to go in all directions with the shaver. I do this because the number 3 cover pushes the majority of the hair down if you go with the hair, so I have to go against the hair when using this shaver. Okay, this is kind of funny. You'll see here that it literally almost looks like I have a bald spot on the top of my head here. Even though it's really convincing, I do not have a bald spot on the top of my head. It's because of the angle and the shortness of my hair there. I was a little bit worried something weird had happened there, but it didn't. It's all good. I knew that the number 3 is the right length for the back half of my top of my head. I kind of break down my whole head into quadrants when I'm doing this. As you can tell, the back of my head takes quite a while to get right, and we're not even close to the detailing part. At this point, I move on to around my ears. I pull the ear down to get it out of my way, but the number 3 just isn't short enough for this. Before I begin on the freehand part of the whole haircut, I keep the number 3 on and I move towards the front top section. So right here, which is the faux hawk area. This is the most important section for me because it actually serves as a stylistic choice, yes, of course, but also if I have it so that my hair gets too long, it ends up drooping down and it rubs on my forehead. And that, within hours, causes acne for me. So I have discovered that I have to keep my hair up like this. I mean, it's not a horrible thing, but I can't have it too short either. That's more stylistic. I could always just do a buzz cut. Then I wouldn't have any acne problems. But if I keep it just this long, everything's good and my hair doesn't droop down. So this is one of the most important parts stylistically, but also functionally, so that I have a not horrible acne-ridden face. Now for the freehanding. I use both hands for this. Obviously one holds the shaver, but the other one is equally important, if not more, as it stabilizes my main hand and prevents it from shaking while I do the detail work. I said I'd get to this later, and now we're here. I like the sides of my head to be straight, not rounded. The number 2 does this perfectly, but again, I don't have that. So I eyeball it without any protection at all. This is where the big mistakes can happen. I'm fine on this side, but on the next side, I think I cut it a bit too far in. But it's barely noticeable, and a week later, you can't really see it. Okay, we are at the final cutting step, the neck. Actually, because I just got this external camera monitor, I'm going to cheat and use it. Normally, I just have to guess and feel it out with my fingers or a secondary mirror. It's really hard to coordinate your hand with the screen, even if you have that, because there's just a slight delay and you don't know which way you're turning, especially the angle. Ignore all the small hairs there, by the way. That's just the actual hair that's been cut. That's not like I have a furry neck. To be honest, for you, without a monitor, I'd try using a mirror, or typically what I would do is get someone else to help me with that part. It's the only part that it's really hard to get done on your own. I used to get my dad to help out, and then it was my girlfriend that would help out. But she's in London right now, so she couldn't help. It's the only part that I just struggle with suggestions on how to do it, except for getting someone else to do it and help out. Because I now had the monitor, I saw that the top back part of my head had some more hair on it that needed to be lopped off. So this is just me doing that. Regularly, I would just feel around with my fingers and notice that there is a lot of hair back there. And then I would proceed to lob it off, like I did. And then you have to kind of rub your hair and shake it all over the place. Get all the small hairs off of you so that you can get ready to do a bit of cleaning. The vacuum cleaner is great for this, but I'd recommend glomming as much of the hair together as you can and then tossing it right into the trash. My sink wasn't entirely dry when I started, and I regret that, but my vacuum also isn't made for sink sucking, so I got rid of most of the hair by glomming it together with my hands, and then I unplugged the sink and I washed the smaller bits down the drain. At this point, I just jump in the shower because no matter how much more you want to clean, you'll just be dropping more hair everywhere because it's never off of you until you shower. So obviously you're going to shower, get all the hair off of you. This is not that type of tutorial. I'm not showing you how to shower and get hair off of you. Once you're out, don't touch any hairy clothes, don't touch any hairy surfaces, and don't step anywhere that is hairy. Just don't. No hair. No. Instead, just dry off as much as you can and maybe put on slippers. That's what I do. So then you're going to dry off and then you can sweep and or vacuum. And then just to finish off, you can get the last bits of hair with a damp cloth. So maybe a rag or something or whatever. You're going to throw it in the wash anyway, so it doesn't matter what you use. And you can clean your floor at the same time. Maybe it's a nice cleaning opportunity. There you have it. This is what I do for doing my hair. I didn't have time right after to record. This is me with my hair 1 week later, actually. So this is how it looks. This is the divot. Wait, where is the divot? I can't even... Is there a divot here? I actually don't know where the divot is. But the divot kind of... I think it was on this side. Either way, it's not there, and it's not really a problem, and never was a problem. It was kind of there. I'm like, oh, that's there. But then 2 days later, it was kind of grown in, and it's all fine. Other than that, I don't think I made any other mistakes. Yeah, no, I think I actually did the back the best that I've ever done because I could see it on the monitor. Either way, that was me cutting my hair. That's how I do it. And this is the result about 1 week later. Right after, it kind of looks like this. I didn't really get a good shot of that, so let's just use the week later. It's that. All right, you have reached the end of the video. Congratulations. If you've made it this far, you liked the video. If you don't, why are you still watching? Anyway, hit the like button and subscribe button and the bell notification icon so that when I produce and send out content to your face, you'll get it on your phone. You'll be notified when I give you content for free. It's all great. Everyone is happy. I'm happy. You're happy. Who's not happy when you hit the bell icon? I don't know. But either way, I'm Ben, and I'm going to leave now because I don't have anything else to say. Bye!